Hi, hello, and how are you? Come on in and stay a while. It's time to get coached up with another edition of the Coach Scott Field Show. Please invite a friend and share this with a friend, as this show allows you, the viewer, to connect with some of the neatest people around the globe in the sports entertainment industry. I'm your host, Coach Scott Fields. Super excited for today's guest. I met this gal last August, when we were both inducted into the Indiana Sports Hall of Fame. She's got a fascinating story to share with you here for about the next 50 minutes. And I think you'll be educated, enlightened, and quite inspired. So without further ado, let's welcome in our guest, Miss Linda Yearby. Linda, how are you?
Just fine.
It's good to have you today.
Well, I'm here.
I like that. So, Linda, tell our viewers, how old are you?
I'll be 89 September.
89. And you
September.
that it's so neat because you have such a rich history in sports, but your passion for basketball, where did your passion for basketball all begin?
When I was little, I'd go out and shoot, try to hit the basket. I couldn't get it up there, and I just every day I go out. Every day I think I was going to make the basket, and finally did. But it was just I don't know why, just watching the boys play, and then I wanted to play when I was little. My
When
family was
when
full of
you
sports.
when you say the boys, was it like family members, or was it just boys from your small community there in Shelby County?
No, it was the college games and the
Okay.
high school games. So, yeah, I would go to the high school games, and I watched most of the college games when I was little.
I love that. Well, let's educate the viewers here for a minute. In 1949, 1950, you actually tried out and made the eighth grade boys basketball team. Tell
Yeah.
us about that experience.
Well, I had shot, dribbled. I had every day. I was playing with that basketball. So my dad told me I had to go to Midway School. I'd been going to Christney because I'm very bashful, and he said you've got to go. So I finally said okay. And so I was able to go down in the gym and practice, shoot around. Finally, I asked Leon and the boys about me playing on the basketball team. Well, I went to the coach first because I didn't know what the boys was going to say. And the coach went to the boys, and finally they said, yes, you can play. So I knew I had to be as good as them. So I kept practicing.
What was that coach's name who gave you that opportunity?
Mr. Walter Parker.
Walter Parker. Now, was he also a teacher at the school?
Yes, he was principal of school. Yes.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
And so this is kind of an unprecedented move because in 1949, it's not like there was Title IX and there wasn't girl sports per se. So
No,
for you
none.
to go out and compete and make the eighth grade boys basketball team back in that time,
Right.
tell us what kind of challenges that you had to face. I mean, we know you had to compete against those boys, but what kind of struggles and what kind of talk did you get from other students?
Well, the other students were very happy, but with me, but the boys, some of them were a little bit jealous, and they would make a lot of remarks, and I kept on playing. I didn't let them put me down. So
I think that's a great message for even today's youth, to not worry about what other people say. And if you have a goal and if you have a drive, to stay true to that goal and do what makes you happy. Do you agree?
oh yes, you must keep at it, no matter what they say. Be determined that you're going to do what you want to do.
I like that. So back in 1949, give us a guess. how many hours a day would you be out working on your dribbling and your passing and your shooting?
I'd be out there most from daylight to dark, except when I had to do dishes.
So you had chores and responsibilities in the house.
Yeah, my mother would say, I just gonna have to bring that old basketball in here for you to do work, do the dishes.
I like that. So were your parents real strict? Were they real disciplines? What type of
Oh,
household did you grow up in? Were you guys farmers, or what were your parents doing?
my dad had a little grocery store out in the country, and they weren't strict. Uh, I got to do mostly what I wanted to do.
And
And
of course they supported you and wanted you to do what made you happy.
yes, yeah, but then I met up with the Texas Cowgirls. So I played a lot of softball too.
Oh,
So I met up with the Texas Cowgirls and tried out for the team, and they took me that night. They said, "Yes, you can go." So I went home, told my mom what I was going to do, and my dad. My mom says, "No, you're not going." My brother said, "Yes, she's going, and get ready, Linda." So
so the Texas Cowgirls, that kind of came when you were like what, age 18?
I just had graduated from high school. And
Wow. So let's back up for the viewers. How was it? Of course, you played with the boys your eighth grade year. Did you have to play with the boys all through high school, or did you get to have
no,
finally have a girls' team that you could participate with?
no, they wouldn't let you. Not in high school. I was just lucky to get to play in the grade school.
Wow, that's amazing. How difficult was it, being a female and trying to compete physically with the boys? I mean, were they mean to? Of course, I know you said there was jealousy, but were they real physical with you? Did they make it hard on you?
Well, sometimes they would, but not. I think they just kind of did it to maybe a teasing me. But Leon Weber, he worked for me pretty good, and he was captain of the team.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so at how tall were you at that time? Because I did some reading and I thought it said like you were like about 5'2". So were you a guard when you played?
Yeah,
Were,
I was.
were you like the point guard? Did you bring the ball up and get everybody in position?
Yes, I did. Yes.
And you enjoyed that role and they followed your lead.
Yeah, they fell right in.
I like that. That's wonderful. When you played that eighth grade season, when you'd go against other schools, what was the reactions from the other schools and the other communities to see you out there being a point guard with those boys?
Some of them canceled their games. They didn't want to play against the girls' team with a girl because they might hurt her.
Oh my goodness. And I'm sure you probably took that personally.
Yeah, I did, but we finally made up and played the most important games. And we played one tournament. They wouldn't let me play that tournament.
Oh,
So we had to go back and play an invitational tournament so that we could play in that, and we beat them.
oh, so you
Yeah,
got the last word. Your skills kind of overtook the game.
yeah. Overtook them.
I like that. What was some of your favorite memories, and what did you learn from that season playing with those boys as an eighth grader? What life skills did you pick up?
Well, just to do what you want to do and don't let somebody try to tell you what to do in sports.
Oh, I love that.
I threw that determined in there, determined I was going to play.
I
And
think that's
also,
wonderful.
also, I had asthma, so that does not help me at all. But
Right, right. So
I,
did you have to use like an inhaler back in those days?
I still do. Yeah.
Wow. So there were times that maybe you were a little short of breath and couldn't catch air, well enough.
Yeah, but I did it.
Oh, you must have a very strong drive and a strong mindset to not let little things stop you from doing what you want to do.
I had to. I still have to this day. You know, you have to do it.
That's right. That's right. I love it. So you just mentioned at the age of 18, the Texas Cowgirls came along. And that was kind of like a traveling sports team that was kind of similar to what the Harlem Globetrotters were doing. Is that correct?
Yes, uh-huh.
So tell us about how did they contact you, or how did you learn about them, or how did the invitation start and how excited were you?
Okay, my softball coach. I was getting ready to play softball, and my softball coach told me, and he kind of knew that I liked basketball a little better. He said the Texas Cowgirls are playing over at Mount Vernon. He said, "How about you want me to take you over?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah, that'd be great." So I went over and I shot around after the game, and they said, "Okay, let's go." I said, I'm going to try to go." So I did. So I,
What a great opportunity. Now, back in those days, how much compensation did you get, or was it did they just took care of your travel and you maybe got to, have a place to stay and maybe they provided your meals, or what type of compensation did you receive for
well,
that?
they paid for this motel, and we got $5 a day.
Oh,
Yeah, and we could eat pretty good on $5 a day.
yeah, back then that's pretty good salary.
It was.
Now, I read somewhere that the great Harlem Globetrotter, Marquise Haynes, kind of showed you and kind of taught you some dribbling skills and some things that kind of helped you with your ball handling.
Yeah,
Tell us about that story and what it
knew
was
that
like to meet Marcus Haynes.
yeah, he would knew that I was trying to do a show dribble, put on a little show out dribbling. So he worked with me and showed me some of the tricks to do. Yeah.
Do you kind of remember some of those drills that you were doing?
Yeah, but too old to get out there now.
So were
But
you going?
what I did, I got tired of doing them myself. So I taught another one of the girls to do them. And she was very good at doing it, put them on a show.
Wow. So I'm assuming you were going behind your back, going between your leg and getting down on your knees and doing just working the ball real
Making a
fast.
slide, you slide down through there and dribble as you're sliding. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. And I'm sure the crowd was very, very entertained to see you going out there and kind of emulating what the Globetrotters were doing.
Yeah. They probably were. They probably didn't think we had it in us.
I also read, Linda, that a lot of times you guys would travel with the Globetrotters, and sometimes you would open up the show and be a show before the Globetrotters would perform throughout towns.
Yes, we did. We just
Were
yeah,
those good experiences? And can you remember some of those towns?
just preliminary,
Yeah.
games before.
What were some of your favorite towns that you traveled to, and some of the crowds that you got to entertain? Are there any places that stick out in your memory that you really enjoyed?
Oh, I'm trying to remember. There was so many.
Yeah.
We went to Alaska. We played in Alaska. We played over in Spain and Morocco on the air bases. We traveled through there, and there's so many. I went through Montana. We played through Kalispell, Montana, little town. So there were just little towns, big towns, and whoever wanted us, we were there.
Oh, I think those are wonderful experiences. And during that time in the 1950s and early 1960s, to be able to travel and get paid and entertain crowds, that
Yeah,
had to just be a great feeling for you and your heart.
yeah, it was. Even at, like we all would say, $5 a day. We don't care what we get. We love basketball.
Oh, see, I love hearing that, and that gives me goosebumps to hear you say how much you love the game. Did growing up in Indiana kind of make that even more special because Indiana, we take basketball so serious.
You're right. Yeah, it did. It did because that was Indiana ball games. You know, you watch all of them and you wanted to be like them.
That's
That was,
that's right. I love it. And so did you ever go to a place and it kind of surprised you with how many people were in the crowd, or was there a place that was just like, wow, this is a great arena to play in and there's so many people?
yeah, there I have. And then we played preliminaries all to the Syracuse Gnats,
Oh
which
yeah.
are the pro team. We would play the first game of the night, put on a show for them, and they would come out and play after us.
I love it. What was your favorite meal, or what was your favorite thing to eat when you were traveling?
What favorite thing to eat? I guess hamburgers.
You had to refuel so you could perform the next day, yeah?
You know what my favorite was? See, you haven't got to where I coached the black color team.
Yeah.
Okay, I would go pick them up to take them to practice. But as I was going in to where they were, there was a little restaurant there, and so I would go in and get me some pie, some coconut cream pie, and eat that little black restaurant all the time. That was my
Oh,
favorite.
that's great. And when you're talking about the team that you coach, was it the Harlem Knights?
Chicks, Harlem Chicks.
The Harlem Chicks. Tell
I
us a
coached
little bit
them
about
right
that
here.
team and how you got into coaching.
Well, I'd been there for about I think 5 or 6 years, and the coach, our owner and coach of the Texas Cowgirls, come to me and asked me if I would go coach them and take them out for the year and do the games and everything like I did for the Texas Cowgirls. And I said yes. So I went out and taught some of them, a little more basketball, and had a good team. And
Were,
but
were
back
you amazed with the talent and the athleticism and the skills of the girls that you coach, or did you have to
then,
teach them all the fundamentals and show them plays and what to do to entertain the crowd?
that all I had to do was show them, some of the things that we want to do, entertain. But they were good. They were good girls.
Oh, that is so fun. Which did you enjoy more? Did you enjoy playing or did you enjoy coaching?
Playing, I believe.
Ah, there you
I
go.
like the coach too because you didn't have to work as hard.
Yeah, there you go. Other than you just had to get on the bus and have a hotel and then make sure the meals were going to be ready and then get to a place to practice and then set up time for the games. That takes a lot of coordination and a lot of work.
Yeah, remember back then you had to go ask if they could come in the restaurant. You
That's
had to
right,
go
because segregation.
in
Yeah.
the motel and you're in a room with you.
Wow.
So I
That
just
that that was
man,
a tough time in the United States when there was segregation and African Americans had to have a certain water fountain. They could only go into certain restaurants. Some hotels would not allow you to stay there. Was
right.
that real challenging to
It
find
was.
places that would allow you?
Some places refused us and went on. I had to go on to find something else to eat at.
Yeah, that had to be hard because you had so much love, and here you were trying to bring entertainment, to a community, and they just wouldn't allow you because of whatever thoughts or feelings they had, right, with their
Right,
mindsets.
yeah, that's
That
right.
that had to be sad. Um, some of those Harlem Globetrotters, of course, we talked about Marquise Haynes, who was, known as a phenomenal dribbler, but who were some of your best friends that you made when you traveled with the Globetrotters?
Well, truthfully, I didn't travel a lot with them, and
Okay.
it was hard to make friends with them, you know, because they had their own bus and we had our own bus.
Yeah. Did,
But
did you have a favorite that you like to watch who performed?
yeah, but see, and then we would watch them perform after we did. So, and they didn't get much of a chance to watch us.
Yeah, right. Who did you like to watch play with the Globetrotters?
Oh, I like Marcus
He
Haynes.
He was good, huh?
Yeah, he was good.
And I love that he kind of, took you aside and showed you, some of those dribbling moves and skills and, how to slide on your knee and dribble the ball and stay away from the defense.
Yes, he did.
That's neat. Well, I've also seen some other neat stories that you had. Um, I guess you were a part of a group at the middle school that kind of buried a time capsule in an old mason jar. What do you remember about that?
I remember Mr. Parker saying, "We're going to put a jar out there. I want everybody to sign this paper so that in the old days, somebody's going to go down in the ground and find this." We didn't think much about it. We didn't think that would be true, but it happened. It happened. He
Wow.
found it.
And so was it just your names on the paper, or did you
Yeah,
put like the year you graduated, or
no,
what was it that helped
got her
identify?
name out. Yeah.
Wow. That's neat. How many years later did they find that jar?
Well, I think it was only last year.
Wow.
They-
So it was probably underground for more than 40 years.
I don't know for sure.
72.
72.
What, 72 years that jar was underground. That's phenomenal. My grandfather in the Kokomo area, he worked for Stellite, and they actually welded a box, and they did the same thing and made a time capsule. And it was going to be, some 50 years later when they opened that one as well. And you think about the history and, those friends, that signed that piece of paper with you, not knowing how that was going to touch and affect other people's lives 72 years later.
Yeah.
And you're here to tell the story about it.
I know. I,
I,
I
I
heard
like
him
that.
say yesterday. I heard him say yesterday the Brian, the one that found it. I heard him tell somebody yesterday that, and another guy talking to him, that there's two more buried out there in the ground.
Oh wow. So they'll be out there like treasure hunters trying to find those other jars.
Yeah, there will be.
That's really neat. So tell us about when you were inducted, or you received the call about being inducted into the Indiana Sports Hall of Fame. What did that mean to you and brought pride and joy to you, I'm assuming, to learn that, because of your career in sports and basketball, that you were going to be inducted?
I just couldn't believe it. It was hard because everybody kind of walked away from me. After you once out of school and everything, and basketball, they kind of walked away from me, and then she just kept on looking for me, kept on looking for me. Finally, they found me, and I don't know. I just couldn't believe it.
I just
I was so happy.
congratulations. It's so well deserving. But you also have another recognition. You actually had a street named after you in your small town. Tell us about that experience.
Now that's different. That was what, yesterday? Yeah, it happened yesterday that we put that name up, well, on the Yearby Street.
So was that a street that you grew up on, or was it near the school that you attended? Or tell us
That little
how
school
they
there,
decided to name that street after you. What was specific about that street?
about the school that I went to, in a little school where I played the basketball.
Yeah,
That's where it
yeah.
was. From it.
Did it bring a tear to your eye when you saw Linda Yearby drive?
Yes, and then when I see my sister, both of I wanted to cry. I just straightened up right fast.
Well, it's just, it's so rare that you find someone who has been on such a wonderful basketball journey and has traveled, all over the United States with basketball, and then traveled to foreign countries and, entertained people with basketball. You've had a great life, and it's all because of the game of basketball. And I think you're so well deserving And the fact that you're still here with us and can share stories with us, there's so many things that you could share with us and teach us and teach the viewers.
Yeah, it probably is. Sometimes I try to forget about some of the bad things and think about the good things, you know.
Yeah, yeah. It is. I don't want to be negative, but what were some of the challenges that you had to go through? Of course, we know we talked about segregation, but what were other things that during that era? Because I mean, there were wars that were going on. There was the depression, that was going on. I mean, there were tough times out there, to live and survive and to make a living. What were some of the toughest things for you?
On the depression was pretty easy because my dad had a little grocery store, so we never went without food.
Yeah. Oh,
But it was hard out there because there's so much jealousy of people jealous of what you get and what you do. And they can do it themselves, they're too lazy. But I just, like I say, I keep it going. I just keep it going, and I say to myself, Brenda, don't stop, don't stop, just keep on. So
Linda, I think that's a great message. Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching the Coach Scott Field Show, and we are talking with Linda Yearby, who has been inducted into the Indiana Sports Hall of Fame. She just had a street named after her back in her community where she played eighth grade boys basketball back in 1949, and we're having such a great conversation. Linda, kind of tell us, because you still stay active and you're still very sharp. What do you contribute that to? How do you stay so healthy and how do you stay so motivated and I mean have such a great attitude?
well, I get up and I go. I don't stop and lay in the bed all day. I do some now because I've gotten older, and
Yeah.
no, I just get up and keep going. I get outside, and I got a dog, and I have to keep up with the dog because he's bigger than I am. And so that's what you do. You can't stop. People
That's
older
right.
need to
That's right.
not need to just keep it going. They can't stop, or else they'll be right in the bed.
That's amen. Do you have any favorite hobbies or things that you like to do now that kind of keeps you active? Do you do gardening or what are things that you enjoy doing?
Well, sometimes I'd break the yard, but I'm just getting up there to where some things I can't do no more. But
Yeah,
I do
right.
what I can.
Do you have any serious injuries from playing basketball for all those years? I mean, do you have pain in your knees or your hips, or did you ever break a bone or anything when you were playing?
Not in playing basketball, no.
Wow. See, that's amazing that you played all those years and coached all those years and never had a physical injury.
That's good. But I I had afterwards. I had got rid of my eye, and
Yeah, yeah. What's some advice that you give? I mean, I know you say stay active, but do you have a certain diet that you like to do or things that kind of keep you energized and things that you just can't wait to have later in the day? Is there a favorite food?
well, I don't. I just eat most of anything. But I kind of like mochas sometimes.
There you
Yeah,
go. Okay. And how
everybody
about
says,
your
"No."
friend Faith? How tell us about that friendship with Miss Faith and some things that how you've got to meet her and how she helps because I know she helped facilitate and set up this interview.
Yes, I'm gonna take my phone. I'm gonna cut it off, and so great. I tell you what, she has done so much for me.
Oh, it's wonderful to have such a wonderful support system. And I think that's also important to, as we stay active, is that we have those friendships and we have those people who kind of check on us and take care of us, right?
That's right. We check on each other about every day.
Oh, see, I think that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Do
So
you have other friends that you stay in
yeah.
contact with, like maybe that were players of yours, or do you have reunions, with your teammates or things like that who are still with us?
I don't call them very often, but I do have, I think, schoolmates yesterday. I think I had about 3 or 4 there.
Oh, wow. Tell us about that.
Friends and neighbors were there yesterday. We had a pretty good crowd there.
Oh, I think that's special. So were those like teammates of yours or just kids that went to school with you?
Friends of mine and the kids that went to school with me, and my nephews and nieces were there. My sister, that's 94, was there.
94. Wow. That's amazing. So she still stays active too.
Yeah, she does. She walked right in there.
You've got some great genes that's keeping you going.
Huh? Yeah, Leon Weber, he was there. My buddy in school. That
Aw, I think that's wonderful.
and he was the he always keeps saying that I was good after him.
So he has a little bit of ego.
He was good, but he was a good player.
I like that.
So, but,
So,
yeah,
how many children and grandchildren do you have?
I didn't have time
Oh,
to get married. I had
yeah,
to play basketball, and then I played a lot of softball too.
yeah, yeah.
Pitched a lot of softball games.
Yeah, I understand. I understand because when you're traveling and going, there just was no time in the day to have a relationship or you
No,
have kids. That takes a lot of time and commitment.
you got to keep going, and so I love that softball.
Tell us about your softball.
I watched. Well, I mean, I wasn't the greatest, but I did have play on a lot of road teams, and I pitched a lot of ball. And I really
Oh,
enjoyed it.
that's wonderful. Um, Tell us, and I want to think about what do you see today in women's athletics that you're so proud of? Because now, think about it, there is Title IX. There's been more than 50 years where there's opportunities for females in sports. But like when you watch the WNBA, which is the Women's Professional Basketball League here in the United States, or when you watch the Olympic team that represents the USA, how much pride do you have in that? Because to me, Linda, you were one of the pioneers who paved the way so that those women have those opportunities today.
That's right, and I enjoyed watching the crowd. The crowd at the WNBA has been having is fantastic, and I don't think the men would ever thought that the women was going to draw crowds like they are now. So I was really happy about that.
I agree. And I'm glad that there are more opportunities for people to view them on TV. They're finally getting chartered jets to fly to games on where you had to jump on a bus and travel for hours on a bus. And now some of these women are being compensated and they're receiving endorsements from companies to be a spokesperson for their brand. I
Right.
feel like if it weren't for people like you who shut all the doubters up, these women wouldn't have those chances. Do you agree with that?
Oh, I do. I was the girls that were there the other night at the Basketball Hall of Fame come up to me and thank me over and over again for being the first ones ahead to start
Oh,
getting them play. So
and
I
see,
was,
yeah, to me, there's no greater recognition than to, be thanked for your service and the time and the years and commitment that you gave to the sport. And you did it just because you loved it.
that's right. Money or no money, I play ball.
Oh, see, I just think that's wonderful. And do you have any goals that you want to attain in your coming years that you hope that will happen?
I'd like to see more of sports for softball. I'd like to see it. I like the WNBA. I'd like to see it
I love it. Are you
I live
excited to
for
watch
them.
the Olympics here and this coming week?
If there's softball on there, I will try to watch it.
Yeah, and of course there'll be basketball too, so that's also going to be fun to watch.
Yeah. So I watch all the softball games that I can find.
There you go. When you're watching basketball today, of course, a big name that everybody gets excited about, and there's a lot of talk, that Caitlin Clark, who plays
Yeah,
in the WNBA for the Indiana Fever, and
yeah.
and and how much excitement she's brought to the game. Are you a fan of hers, or are you familiar with her story?
Oh yes, I watch her. I watched her play the other night. Yeah,
Does she kind of remind you of you when you were younger?
yeah, because she goes after her. She's gonna. And they give her a rough time. When she started dancing, I was jealous of her, and they give her a rough time. And I was just thinking, stick with it, girl, stick with it, because you
That
can't.
that's right, because she's a tremendous ball handler, but her passing skills, the other night she set a WNBA record for 19 assists. And then of course, she's averaging, 24, 25 plus points per game. So I think the talent and the intrigue to get more viewers to watch, which is going to open up even more opportunities for women because they're showing that they are skilled and it is entertaining and there is value to that. Do you agree?
I do. Yes, I do. Yeah.
I just think that's wonderful. Do you get to go to many Indiana Fever games, and are you excited about those crowds?
Yeah, I'm excited about them, but I don't never go, far away from everything out there in
Yeah,
Florida.
it's easiher to watch it on TV, huh?
Yeah, yeah, be easier to sit there and watch that.
Can you believe that now, there's like 16, 18, 19,000 people watching a women's professional basketball game?
I wouldn't have dreamed of that. I wouldn't have think of that. But because when we would go in and crowd big crowds, I mean about 1,000 or a couple thousand was about one of the most that we'd have.
Ooh.
They didn't know about women playing or something. I don't know, but I was just thrilled to see people really at those games.
Oh, see, I think that's wonderful. How about, when you think back on your career and how blessed and how fortunate you've been, are there any memories that stand out real positively to you? Like, oh, I just really enjoyed, this situation. Are there memories like that you want to share?
There is one memory I wasn't involved,
Okay.
but my brother's wife, Dawson, she was a pitcher,
Ah,
and they would have the boys to come to Rockport, Indiana, and play against her.
oh.
And she would stand up there and strike them boys out, and they just walk away shaking their head. I never
You-
forgot that.
That has to make you proud. That kind of like a chip off the old block, yeah?
Yeah, that's
Oh,
why I
good
filled
for
in
you,
to help
Linda.
her. I filled in when she quit. I filled in to play ball, but I would never hurt. I would never
When you played softball, what position did you play?
pitcher.
Oh, okay. And did you have a good batting average?
Yeah, I'm pretty good at batting.
I love that. What were some of the team names that you played softball with?
Oh, I can't remember.
Oh,
I
okay.
played in different places,
Yeah.
because I moved around and playing basketball. In the summertime, I'd go to different towns, maybe to winter, and instead of and play on their team. I just go up and join, see they needed somebody to play on their team, and I usually played every year.
I love it. Um, when you were in school, and I'm sure teachers supported you and they were proud of what you were doing and like the vision that you had. What were your favorite subjects in school? What excited you about education?
I don't know. I can't think of anything.
Okay, okay. But you had fun in the
Oh,
classroom, and how many kids
said
were in
that.
your graduating class, would you say?
I think it was about maybe 30.
So a very small
Or 30,
town,
yeah.
small community, small
Yeah.
school.
Yeah, small school, not too many.
And see, to me, that amazes me, Linda, because you come from a small town, and yet the game of basketball allowed you to travel the globe and play. And if you could do that from a small town of Indiana, think what people could achieve if they really put their minds to it.
Right. They could.
I like that, Linda. I love that. Um, how about in that small town? Was there anybody that you wanted to be like? Who was your role model?
Mm,
Someone you looked up to and you wanted to be like? Was it just Marcus
yeah,
Haynes? Was that your?
that was let's see, Anita, the Dawson, the pitcher. I wanted to be pitch like her and be like her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Was she older than you?
Yeah, she was leaving softball when I was going into softball.
Okay.
But and then I also Texas Cowgirls. I played with them. Then after about 5 or 6 years, I quit playing with them, and two or three of us girls got to talking, and we formed our own team called the Shooting Stars.
That's right.
And then the booking agent comes to me and says, "I think that you make them have bigger crowds if you would change the name." So put a name in a hat, and we drove out to Arkansas Lassies. So from there on, we were Arkansas Lassies.
The Arkansas Lassies, which was after a dog, right?
Yeah, yeah. Um, we just wanted to be like like the Cowgirls did. Maybe add a few more different jokes or something. But that's and Alvera Newman played with me. She helped me, and then she eventually branched off into her own team, and she had she's the one I helped teach basketball, and she come up with a fabulous halftime show. Paint the ball, turn all the lights out, and that ball would glow. And
Ooh,
the ribbon act was out. He was she was tremendous.
I love that. Linda, do you have any like memorabilia, or do you have any of the old uniforms, or just some old photos that kind of, you put up on the wall that kind of help you have memories of those teams and those players and all those fun times?
Well, no, I've been searching, figure out what I did with my uniforms.
Yeah. I can't imagine the value of those, and how meaningful that would be to have those setting up, and maybe have like a Linda Yearby museum, and to and put up places where you've been and the things you've done. I think it'd be phenomenal because, again, with you being such a pioneer.
Yes, it would be better to be up like that than to be into a box in my house.
So you don't like to have a bunch of things around like that.
Yeah, I do, but I need to have a bigger house.
Well, because you would have a lot of memories to store in there, right?
Yeah.
I love that.
And
And how about Faith? Does Faith have any fun stories about you that she remembers, or things that you
probably
guys kind of
does.
talk about with your conversations?
He probably does, because she knows that she laughs at me every now and then.
Well, you guys, I'm sure you guys talk about a lot of history, and she kind of helps people, she helps educate and inform others about, some of your accomplishments and accolades. Were you always like a team captain?
No, I try not to be. I'd rather somebody else be ahead of me.
Uh-huh.
You couldn't
Okay.
tell how to be a team captain. But you always
Well,
had to do something. There was always something you had to interfere and do with. So that's, but I usually was the head driver and coach of the team.
I love that. And so talk about, because you didn't have your own family with the husband and kids, I'm assuming that all those teams and all those players on your team, that was kind of like your family, because those ladies spent more time with the team than they did, with their immediate families, right?
Yes, they did, but most of them have family. But
Yeah, wow.
they quit sooner than I did. But I just kept going.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you had mobility and you were able to, do more things and do it longer because you didn't have to have the responsibility of raising kids. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, and I
And,
kept.
and it sounds like that was a choice.
Yeah.
I like it. So, do you have any like any comments that you want to leave for the viewers who are watching this today? Because I'm hoping that people are going to see this and this is going to, bring back memories for them. But are there any messages that you want to leave with the viewers today?
This this let Faith tell you a story.
Yeah. Hi,
Scott,
Faith.
hi.
It's so good to have you. Thank you for joining us and thank you for setting this up for us.
Oh, I was thrilled to. One thing I wanted the listeners to know is that Linda tried to start a women's professional basketball league about the end of the 70s or maybe the first part of the 80s, right?
About in the 70s, yeah.
Okay. And she met with Orville Moore, which was the owner of the American Redheads team. And they had a meeting in Nashville, Tennessee. And she was very hopeful that they were going to come together and be able to form this league. And negotiations fell through. They weren't able to. She tried again at another time. And I guess the timing just wasn't ready yet, for that. But I think that's such a big deal that Linda, I mean, out of any of the other barnstormers there were, she was the one that was really trying to initiate that and get it going. And that was something I felt like the listeners should know about, because think about where it is now.
Well, when I hear that, I think of the vision that she had, and it's so sad that others didn't share that vision just because they just didn't believe it would work. But the foresight of that is, look at it today.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think, just that timing, it was just a little too early for where everybody was at that time with men, women, the sports and all of it. But one of the goals that I have for Linda, when you were asking, but I have a goal that she gets to meet the Indiana Fever team, and that she gets to meet the players and the coach, and they get to meet her, so that they can appreciate each other for what they've all brought to where we are right at this minute.
You know what? I think that would be a beautiful thing. I think it's a well-deserved gesture. And I feel like if we get this out and we share this, I believe, we could manifest that and make
We
that
can make
happen.
that happen, Scott. Let's make it happen.
Well, Faith, I believe that. Do you have any favorite stories that Linda has shared with you throughout the years that that
There's
would
so
resonate with the viewers?
Yes, well, I don't think she gave herself, that was one of the reasons why I kind of like to be able to brought in, because she won't give herself credit.
She's
You
so
know,
humble.
I know, and I can give her credit because I see it. But like
Yeah.
even her forming this team after she helped with the Harlem Chicks, which by the way, we actually are in conversation in connection with one of the chicks. And what's so great for me is she was from Murfreesboro, Tennessee, which I'm from Nashville. And
Yeah.
so, we're still trying to connect in person, but we have been on the phone. Linda's got to talk to Irma. Her name is Irma Bradford Black. She is, or maybe it's Black Bradford. I get those two mixed up.
Yeah.
She is precious. We've talked on the phone several times. And one of the other goals that I really have is I would love more than anything to take Linda and us go see all of her teammates that she's played with in person, that we go to them instead of expecting all of them to be able to come to a reunion. I said, Linda, let me put you in an RV and let's just go to Michigan, to Minnesota, to Florida. You know, Jolene Emmons, she was fabulous. We get to see her and talk to her. I mean, I don't get to see her, but I get to see her on Facebook. Some of them we get to connect with on Facebook. But when she, after the Chicks, you know, she and they call her Peps, but you know, Elvira Newman, and who was the other ones? Do you remember their names? Catherine. Anyway, two or three others. They all just kind of got their heads together and said, "Hey, I think we could be better team owners. You know, let's do the things that we didn't like. That you know, when we were doing it, managing. Let's do a better job." So Linda said, "Let's pay the players more. Let's make sure that they eat. Don't let them take their money that they make and then don't eat because they're saving their money." So one of the rules she had was, if you don't eat, you don't get to play. You've got to spend your money and eat, because she looked out for them. She cared about them as people and as teammates. And she was like, "No, I want to make sure you're okay," because they played every day of the week and twice on Sundays. So
Wow.
we're talking, these girls were unbelievable, plus driving from city to city in the meantime. You know, so when she says she's a driver, that means a lot, because if she's driving, she's not able to rest like the other ones do, you know, in between sites going from here to there. And when she played in Alaska, that was only 1 year after Alaska had been made the 49th state. So can you imagine how wild it was as a state? She played on the military base, and she said that you could see across and see the Russian soldiers marching back and forth guarding an area from where they were in the military base.
Oh my
I mean, it's
goodness.
just fascinating.
It is fascinating.
Story. And I think it should be made a movie, you know, without a doubt.
A book for sure, a
Yeah.
documentary or a movie, I think would be fabulous because of the wisdom, the knowledge, the expertise, and then just the timeline of history. I mean, the assassinations of presidents and so many historical events that happened, and they endured all that to entertain crowds with the passion and love of basketball, I think is phenomenal.
Well, here's one more really cool story, I think, and that is that Hank Williams Sr. used to be part of the singing act at halftime when they would be playing, okay? And so after he passed, his wife Audrey would come and sing, and she would bring Bo Cephas, and they would take care of Bo Cephas in the locker room in between while they were in there waiting, and she was out entertaining during halftime. And here I am from Nashville, Tennessee. I've tried to get a hold of Hank Williams Jr. to tell him and ask him if he remembers anything about it at all.
I love those are phenomenal stories, Faith. I appreciate you sharing that.
I knew she wouldn't tell you all the good stuff, because she is so shy and so humble about what all she's done. But I'm just absolutely thrilled to have met her. And every day we have to talk to each other at least 2 or 3 times a day. I'm in Montana, she's in Florida, but we got to check in on each other and see how we're doing.
You know what? I think that's a beautiful thing. Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching the Coach Scott Field Show. We have a Hall of Famer, Linda Yearby, and her close friend, Faith Fairhope, with you today on the show. We've been sharing stories. What a magical hour we've had together. And thank you so much for making this happen, because I think it's just a great story that we need to share and let people know that this even happened to pioneer and pave the way for these successful, wonderful athletes of women today.
Well, and I want to say the women that came up to her was Dr. Amy Matheny and Debbie Skywalker Augerson. And we got pictures made with them and everything, and they were so appreciative, and they were so glad they got to meet Linda and tell her in person what she has meant to them.
I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, just thank you so much for viewing us today on the Coach Scott Field Show. subscribe to our channel, and please share this wonderful story and journey for others. And Linda, thank you so much for your time and sharing your humble heart with our viewers today.
Yes, we appreciate that. Very
I-
good.
I
enjoyed it.
love it. And Faith, thank you so much for your time and your service and your efforts and
absolutely.
sharing her story.
It's been an honor and a privilege.
Yes, it has. So thank you
privilege
so
to
much,
have it.
ladies and gentlemen. Stay tuned for another episode of the Coach Scott Field Show. And I can't thank these lovely women enough. My heart is filled with just pride to be able to share this story on our platform. Have a
And
great day and
and
thank you.
Scott, also, I was born in Evansville, Indiana.
Well, there you go, home of the I love it, Faith. You guys have a great day. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.